Hello, it's the Confident Live Marketing Show. My name's Ian Anderson-Gray, and I'm so excited. I've got Geige Vandentop on the show, who is the co-founder, or are you the founder or the co-founder of Streamyard?
I'm the co-founder of Streamyard. And thanks so much for having me on. I'm really excited to be here.
No, it's been great. I've been really excited about having you on because we've talked a lot about Streamyard on the show. And if you're not familiar with Streamyard, Streamyard is a fantastic it's a web app streaming tool that allows you to stream to Facebook Live, Periscope, I'm trying to remember all of them, YouTube and LinkedIn Live. So it's great to have you on. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's a nice early morning here. I'm excited to chat with you. It is really cool meeting you. Like, we met obviously before the podcast briefly, but I had read a lot of your blog posts before actually even creating StreamYard. Like, we had done a lot of research about the people that were important in the space as far as live streaming. So I feel like I know you quite well, despite never having talked to you before. So this is
funny.
Interesting.
I know. I can't believe we actually haven't spoken face to face yet. We've been chatting on Messenger a lot. I've been really excited to have you on because there's so much to talk about. It's an exciting time for you guys at StreamYard because there's so many new features that you've been adding. So that's been great. So if you're watching us live, welcome. Let us know where in the world you are from. And if you're watching the replay or the live video, just pop it in the comments where you're from. And also, if you've got any questions for Geige and basically any thoughts or requests, any of that kind of stuff, let us know. It'd be great to hear from you. So so where in the world are you from? And because you've said it's very early in the morning.
So right now I'm in Victoria, Canada, or Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. I'm from the States originally, but my parents are Canadian, and Dan is Canadian, and Dan and I went to school here in Victoria.
Okay, excellent. So you've moved around a bit. So were you born in the US?
Yeah, I was born in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, okay, yeah. So. But you're in Canada now. One of these days, I will visit Canada. I've been to the US quite a few times, but not made it to Canada. But hopefully soon it'll happen.
And sorry, where are you? You're in. Where are you located? I won't guess.
It's always confusion. I live in Manchester in the UK, so just northwest of England. So so it's good here. It's a bit cold. That's all I'll say. But it's probably cold where you are too. It's that time of year.
Chilly. Summer ended extremely fast.
I know. So anyway, it's time. I think it's time to record the podcast now. So we'll be with you just after this. See you in a bit.
This is the Confident Live Marketing Podcast. Confident Live Marketing Podcast with Ian Anderson-Gray, helping entrepreneurs level up their impact, authority and profits through the power of live video. Gain confidence in front of the camera, confidence with technology, and confidence with the content and marketing.
Together, we can go live!
Hello, it's the Confident Live Marketing Show. My name's Ian Anderson-Gray, and this is episode 24. Today, we're going to be talking about StreamYard in the live video tool showcase. Last time we talked about a tool, it was Ecamm Live, and we're going to be going through all the different live video tools out there. And I'm really excited to be interviewing the co-founder. But before we do that, if you want to know the show notes for this, they're not out yet, obviously, because we're just recording the show. But if you go to iag.me/24, hopefully in a couple of weeks' time, that will be there. The show notes will be there. But before that, it's time to talk about our first sponsor, which is Content 10x. Recently, I had Amy Woods on the show, who is the founder of Content 10x, and that was a really exciting episode. That was actually episode 23 last time. And Content 10x are experts in content repurposing. They provide a full end-to-end repurposing service. Now, the cool thing about this is once you've sorted out the tech of live video, it's so easy to go live, particularly using tools like StreamYard. You just press that go live button and you're creating a piece of content that you can then repurpose. But what a lot of people do is they press the end broadcast button and then they forget about it. But with the power of repurposing, you can then take that and turn it into a plethora of different types of content to explode across the internet. And that's what Content 10x do. So they will take that live video, turn it into a podcast or a blog post or social media images, infographics, that type of thing, helping you save time so you can focus on building your business. They also have an awesome blog. Just go to content10x.com and a fantastic podcast, which has just reached over 100 episodes. So that will help you with all things to do with repurposing. So today, I'm really excited to have Geige Vandentop on the show, who is the co-founder of Streamyard. So Geige met his co-founder, Dan Briggs, living in residence during their first year of university. Dan studied mechanical engineering and he studied electrical engineering. They both did co-ops, internships at various technology companies, but they knew that ultimately they wanted to start a venture together. Growing up, he loved the internet and how it unlocked all kinds of opportunities. And before the internet, yes, there was a time before the internet, it was often difficult to find others who shared niche interests. Now, whole communities can form around these interests. Voice over IP applications like Skype were particularly interesting to him because of the ability to connect people across the globe. Hi, Geige. It's great to have you on the show.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. That was an awesome intro. I enjoyed all of that. I'll have to check out your sponsor, by the way. I've never heard of them, Content 10x.
Oh, that's cool.
Repurposing is definitely awesome. And like you said, I think live streaming is a great place to sort of be the genesis of new content because it's so easy to just get that content out there. And if there's a good service to sort of repurpose it on lots of places, that sounds super interesting.
Oh, I had this epiphany moment, really. I realized, I have to say, blogging has changed my life. It's why I'm here. It's the reason I'm here today. But I can't tell you how much effort and time it takes to produce blog content. It really does. It can take weeks and weeks of content, of time to produce it. And so I've kind of seen the light when it comes to live video, because from this piece of content that we're creating now, I can then turn it into a blog post, into a podcast, and it saves so much time. So it's really cool. And the great thing is, Amy, who is the co-founder of Content 10x, just lives down the road from me. Such a small world. It's so funny, isn't it? So, so I got loads and loads of questions for you. And just before I ask you some of those questions, we've got May King in the room. And May King is on the recent episode as well on this show. And she says, "Hi, Ian. Looking forward to hearing from you, Geige, about StreamYard. Some of my friends have waxed lyrical about your software. I'm from sunny Sheffield in the UK." Yeah, I've been talking to May King about StreamYard. And how did you start StreamYard? What was the kind of genesis of StreamYard as a company?
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said in the intro, Dan and I are the co-founders of StreamYard, and we had basically worked on lots and lots of projects together. We probably have known each other for, I think it's almost 8 years now. So in first year university, it was just school projects, and that sort of turned into other types of projects. One of those was we actually made a music visualizer together, which is actually sitting to the left of me. A giant soldered together box of lights was our first attempt.
So what does that do? Is it kind of one of these like graphic equalizer things?
So yeah, it was basically just like a light show in a box. So it would, to the tune of music, different lights would go off, and you could make your own light shows on this crappy little program we made and upload them to the box. That was sort of the first thing we ever made together. That was not a success, but it was a lot of fun to work on. But we started getting really into software. So despite the fact that neither of us were software engineers, we really enjoyed in both electrical and mechanical engineering, you do a bit of programming. And that part was super appealing to us just because there's such a low barrier to entry, right? Like if you want to make an innovative mechanical engineering project, it's going to cost you a lot of money to get the resources and build what is required to do that. But with software, if you have an idea and a couple computers and two people that are good at programming, you can make some really, really amazing stuff. So that sort of led us down the road of software. And we became, particularly me, I sort of got Dan into the voice over internet protocol stuff just because I was so interested in the internet. Like I haven't used Skype in a long time, but before I started building StreamYard, I'd probably logged thousands and thousands of hours on Skype just with random people, whether that was like playing like online poker together or video games or whatever. I was a geek. I was into that stuff. And I wanted to understand it. I wanted to learn it, and I wanted to make applications that connected people. So Dan and I started building VoIP applications, and we're sort of wrapping up a previous project that was more focused on meetings, and we're looking out at the landscape that was out there. And we felt that that there was definitely a place in the live streaming space for an easy tool. We both thought Twitch was really interesting from a business perspective, and that like it was sort of like Twitch has been around for a long, long time. And before it was Twitch, it was Justin TV. And for people that don't know what Twitch is, it's basically a site for streaming video games that Amazon purchased for, I think, just under $1 billion a few years ago. But they were sort of the only company that pulled it off. Like there was back then, so there was lots of Twitch-like companies for things that weren't video games. But video games is sort of the only thing that became big, and we wondered why that was. And I think a big part of it was that gamers sort of have powerful computers so that they can play these powerful games, and that they're able to sort of make more interesting content because they can sort of shift focus to the video game. So we thought it would be great if we could make a tool that sort of served people that didn't have fancy computers and weren't into video games and maybe didn't even know anything about computers, and give them the tools to make awesome content without having to learn about like what's an encoder and what are my best ingest settings. Like for people that didn't know anything about computers to be able to, I want to make a show about cars and be successful. So that's why we made Streamyard.
That's cool. Yes, because I remember. I mean, we're not going back that long. Maybe 3.5 years ago, when I first started getting into Facebook Live, the only way really I could work out how to use it was using the software called OBS Studio. And OBS Studio, it's still great, and there's a lot of good things about it, but it's not easy to use. Let's say that. And you are having to think about all these fancy words like encoder settings and RTMP, and I mean, I will stop there. But basically, yeah, it's and so there was definitely a gap in the market for all these non-gamers, maybe marketers or small business owners who wanted to use this new technology of Facebook Live, but they wanted it to be easy to use. And the great thing about StreamYard is that it works directly through the browser. So it's not, you don't have to download any extra apps, and it works on Mac and PC, maybe even Linux, I don't know. But it's great from that point of view. So were you into social media at the time? Because obviously you've talked about voice over IP and Skype and the internet, but the other thing that obviously StreamYard utilizes are the social networks of YouTube and Periscope, or Twitter and YouTube.
Yeah. So yeah, that's an interesting question. No, this is all very new to me, which people probably find funny because I'm obviously all over them now. So now I know lots about Twitter and Facebook groups and how all of that works. But no, I made my LinkedIn account, I think probably about a year ago, close to the time that we started working on an integration with LinkedIn. Most of my time was on sort of the nerdier types of things. So being on Skype with just random people and things like that. But I love it now. Like I love social media, especially Facebook. Facebook groups are one of my favorite things, how you can sort of form these little communities within Facebook. I'm a really big fan of those. But no, it was all new to me.
Well, that's cool. It's a good time to be a geek. I admit it. I'm a geek too. And, when I was at school, not so cool being a geek, but now it is. It's a good time to be alive. And so obviously there's the social aspect, there's the technology side, and you were able to bring all of those together into creating this tool, StreamYard. So why live video? What, in your opinion, why is live video such a good thing for business owners to use? Why did you want to? I suppose it's a separate question. You've kind of answered this, but why live video from your point of view, but also from a business point of view?
So for at least at the beginning, it was based on what else was out there. So I thought there was tons of really good solutions for meeting applications. Like Zoom's is a nice application. Appear-in, super easy to use. Like I thought that audience was being served well, and even Skype, for how much, despite the fact that a lot of people seem to complain about Skype, I think it's a good tool. Whereas live video is where I thought there was this gap of there was very powerful tools that serve those people well. Like OBS is great software, vMix is great software, but I didn't. And things are different now. Like now there are more there are now more tools that are pretty easy to use. But when we were first starting, there weren't as many. So that was the main reason for us as far as when we first started. Where's somewhere that we can really serve people. But as far as a business owner, why they should be interested in live video, for me, I am now a business owner that uses live video. I use it every single week. Dan and I do for our weekly town hall streams for StreamYard. And one of the biggest reasons I use it is time. It's extremely time effective and it's also effective just in general. Like you can make very good content if you know your space well and you know what you're talking about. It's great for just 1 hour. You can quickly create a piece of content that will sort of live on, and you can repurpose it using the tools you mentioned, and it's great for that. So vlog, like there's lots of great content marketing methods out there, but if you don't have a team to dedicate to that, like for writing blog posts and creating podcasts, it can be extremely time consuming. Whereas live streaming, if you make a weekly show and you know a bit about the space, take in questions, it's very fast, and I find it extremely fun as well.
Oh, well, that's good. It does. It makes a difference if you actually find it fun. And yeah, I think you're right. At the time, 2 or 3 years ago, there was this big gap in the live video space, and even now, I find there was a lot more tools out there, but then none of them. Maybe apart from Streamyard, I'm joking, but none of them are perfect. There were always gaps, and there's always areas for innovation. And I'm going to talk to you about that, about what you feel is going to be the next step on that. So you do a lot of live video. Do you get nervous? Do you still get nervous? Have there been any embarrassing moments for you?
I definitely still get nervous, but I get nervous when I'm getting my groceries at the grocery store. So it's not too different. It's not too different for me. It's a bit different when it's like being recorded, I guess. But no, I definitely get nervous. I don't know that it hasn't really changed. Like how nervous I was the very first time I did a live stream is not so much different than it is now. I always have a bit of nerves before I go live, but it's not, once you get used to it, it's not so different than just having a conversation with someone. People think like, oh, what if I forget what to say? It's like, well, what do you do when you are talking to someone? I don't know.
It's so
Figure
true.
it out, I guess.
It is true, isn't it? Because I think sometimes for some people, and I find this for me, that the thought of it is more terrifying than actually doing it. So you can build up all these things in your mind, and you can think, oh, it's going to go wrong. What if I get Gaige's name wrong, or if I stutter of my words? And actually, if these things were to happen, is that the end of the world? I don't know. Not really. So, any embarrassing moments for you, or have they all gone kind of fairly okay for you?
I'm sure there's been embarrassing moments. I've probably buried them in my subconscious or something.
It's
I wish I had
question.
I wish I mean, probably just simple things like forgetting to unmute the mic or nothing too exciting. Luckily, nothing terrible has happened. I haven't like spilled water on it or done anything crazy in the middle of a live stream. They've all gone relatively smoothly.
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, I have to say, I haven't had too many embarrassing moments, or very many at all. But yeah, we've had a few people on the show who've talked about spilling water all over their crotch, and things like the background's fallen down on top of them halfway through. So I always like to ask. So StreamYard is obviously it's very well known now. For me as an outsider, the uptake seems to be just huge. There seems to be, everyone's talking about StreamYard. It's the next big thing in the world of live video tools. Has the uptake of StreamYard, the popularity, surprised you?
It has surprised me a bit. It was fairly calculated how we did things and how we went about it. Like Dan and I meet every week, and we have a very specific plan for how we're approaching things, and we measure and we iterate. So it wasn't like just like, oh, what happened? There's a ton of people now. It was relatively planned, but the characteristics of how it has grown has surprised me, and how receptive people have been to us has surprised me. Like people are just how nice people are, and how willing they are to help us. Like I thought the word of mouth would not be as big of a factor for us as it is, but people are just, when they enjoy the tool and are just so eager to help get the word out about it, which has been extremely helpful, and that part has really surprised me.
That's cool. Yeah, it's interesting to know that you were strategic. You were thinking about how to launch that. You didn't just come up with the idea and put it on the internet and hope for the best. So it was definitely.
No, I've done that before, and it doesn't work. People don't just use stuff like it, that's. I mean, that's usually how everyone starts and thinks, is like, oh, if you build it and it's good, people will use it. That's not how it works.
No, it doesn't. I can speak from experience there. Just to say, we've got Faith from Turkey. So great to see you here. If you've got any other questions, if you've got any questions for Geige, then just pop them in and I will ask away. But so the uptake's been great. Has there been anything I suppose the question is, what's the most fun thing that's happened since you've launched it from your point of view? The most enjoyable bit?
I think just seeing the people, surprising people who have used it, where I'll see someone doing a live stream, like that person's using Streamyard, and they're quite well known. Like I saw an interview with Kevin Durant where they were using Streamyard, which was obviously pretty exciting to see. Frank Kern used the product for a while, which was pretty cool for people that don't know who that is. He's a very famous internet marketer. Chris Hansen's now using it for his Hansen-verse Predator shows. So I think the most exciting points have just been seeing exciting people using the product, for me at least.
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine that. And so for those who don't know, StreamYard, it works through the browser, as I said earlier, and so it works on Mac and PC, which is great. So some of the tools that I've mentioned before, they only work on a specific platform. So vMix, for example, is a great tool, but it's only for PC. Ecamm Live, great tool, only for Mac. And there are tools like Wirecast that work on both, but the great thing about StreamYard, in a similar way to tools like BeLive, is it works in the browser, and so it just makes it easy to use. So I've mentioned some features there. There are obviously more. What are, in your opinion at least, the best features of StreamYard? Try not to make this into an ad, but but in your your opinion, what are the best bits?
Sure, it's new and shiny now, so that so that's probably part of the reason why I like it. But multi-streaming for me, I'm extremely excited about. But I don't think it's just because we just released it. Partly it's because it was pretty difficult to do before we added it into StreamYard. Like, there's lots of great solutions for it, but they all sort of assume that you know about the things we talked about earlier, that you know about RTMP keys and ingest, and you can wire together different products. And it is pretty special on StreamYard, in my opinion, as a user. So Dan actually did most of the work on that feature. So I did actually get to come into it fresh as a user would, which is always nice, because sometimes when you work on something, you're going to be really biased and not be able to come in with a fresh perspective. But I was able to come in with a fresh perspective because Dan did most of the work on it, and it is awesome. So you can, because there's lots of people just have that desire, right? I want to go on Facebook and YouTube. How hard could this be? Pretty hard before this, in my opinion. And now it's just, okay, click YouTube, click Facebook. I want to go live at this time. Make your posts for both of those. It's now scheduled. You have your links that you can share out. It's pretty awesome. So I do love that feature. But in a more general sense, my favorite part about StreamYard and our number one priority is just how easy it is. So how easy it is to bring guests in is, I think, and is what's going to live on as my favorite feature, is just no downloads, no fancy instructions. Here's the link, just click on it and you'll be in my show. Is probably my actual favorite part.
Yeah, I love that. That is something that some tools out there, there are other tools out there like vMix, a great tool and great for those kind of very ultra professional broadcasts and Wirecasts too. And I've not used vMix so much. I've used Wirecast a lot. I love it as a tool, but it's not for the faint-hearted. It's difficult to use, and you've got to know all of those things. Whereas an app like StreamYard, you just go to your browser, and you don't even need to worry about logging in with a password, which is another kind of fun thing about it. I'm sure some people get annoyed by this, but you basically email out a special code, don't you, to people?
Yeah, some people definitely do get annoyed. I think more people like it than dislike it. The people that get annoyed usually are trying to have a friend use the account as well, and it's frustrating for them because they can't just share a password. But yeah, mostly because of security. Like, you always hear about these stories of companies having issues, and then what happens is if just in case people don't, this is probably an important thing to know. So if you use the same password across all your sites, and one of those sites is not a very good site, and they happen to lose that information, well, now this person that's might not have your best interests at mind has your name and password that you're probably using on different sites. So by us not knowing your password, that can't really ever happen. Yeah. So that's sort of the security reasoning behind it. But yeah, every time you log in, we just email you a code. It's like 15 minutes you have. You can feel like James Bond for a second to get the code in fast enough. You have lots of time. You don't have to do it that quickly.
And the email goes really quickly. So I mean, I was a little bit I was about to be really frustrated the first time I used StreamYard, and then I was pleasantly surprised by how quickly the email went. And for people like me, I'm a geek, so I used tools like LastPass and multi-step, two-step authentication. But most of us shouldn't need to use those technologies. So actually making it easy for people to use is definitely a good thing. Got some comments which I just want to bring through. So Dave Brown says, "Hey Geige, your platform is awesome," and he also says, "Simple, reliable, professional," which is cool. And of course, got a question from May King who says, "Which platforms do you stream simultaneously to, Dave?" I think she's asking Dave, but we can talk about the multi-streaming in a little bit more detail. So with multicasting, this allows you to broadcast to not just one platform, but two at one point. And until recently, Facebook, I'm sure you know a lot more about this than me, but Facebook had this thing in their terms and conditions that disallowed people, or certainly disallowed app developers from giving you the ability to stream to more than one platform at the same time. So they didn't want you to stream to Facebook and YouTube at the same time. There was a bit of a gray area in that you could stream to YouTube and then you could stream to Facebook if you used RTMP, which is not, we're getting a bit technical here, but basically there was a way around it. But they seem to have relaxed those things now. Just would love your thoughts on that. And also, can you tell the viewers and listeners which platforms people can stream to?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was sort of interesting. It's always been kind of a gray area. There's probably other people that are more familiar when Facebook Live first came out, what the initial policy was. I don't actually think they had that policy when they first released, and that policy might have been a response to an app in particular, but I won't get into the details of all of it. It was complicated and very confusing for us because like you said, it was strictly to apps. So as a user, if you wanted to figure out how to do it yourself, Facebook didn't care. You could always multi-stream to Facebook and other platforms. But as an app developer like me working on StreamYard, we weren't able to facilitate that for people, but they've now officially removed it. So if you go to the Facebook Live policy doc and you go to the live streaming section, there used to be one that says, don't build apps that allow you to go to multiple platforms simultaneously, something along those lines, and that's now gone. So now it's totally okay. It's all above board. You can multi-stream to Facebook, YouTube, and wherever else. And as far as I know, Facebook was actually the only platform that had that policy. So there's not really anything to worry about now.
I think you're right. Yeah, and it was a bit of a frustration. But the other thing that's been frustrating about multicasting, and one reason why I've always recommended against it for beginners, people starting off, is that if you're streaming to more than one platform, how on earth do you cope with all the comments? You've got this fragmentation of all the comments. You've got people on Facebook and YouTube and Periscope, and so there's not really been an app that's been able to deal with that until obviously StreamYard. Now that you've not just allowed people to multicast, you've got the ability to have all of those comments in one feed. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was really important to us to make it, like everything we do at StreamYard, our number one priority is make this extremely easy for people. So, and yes, we had that exact same feeling as you, that one of the biggest pain points for doing a successful multi-stream was managing the comments from all these different platforms. So we made sure that all the platform comments come into the StreamYard studio. So someone is commenting on YouTube or someone's commenting on Facebook. Both of those comments will appear in the studio with their nice little avatar, and you can show that on screen and address them directly, which I think is a huge step in having a successful multi-stream and managing it effectively. But like you said as well, I don't think I would immediately jump into it. Like if you're brand new to live streaming, probably just focus on one platform and get comfortable with that, and then maybe introduce another platform. I'm also under the opinion that less can be more. Like I wouldn't go to 20 platforms because you can. I would pick the ones that you think your content will resonate on and where people will be interested in your content and really focus on those. I think that's a better strategy.
Yeah, totally agree. And at the moment, at least with LinkedIn, the disadvantage with LinkedIn Live, I mean, actually, that's one thing to say. StreamYard is one of the only tools out there. There's last time I checked, about 6 or 7 tools that allow you to stream to LinkedIn. I'm sure they're adding more and more over time. But StreamYard is one of the only tools that has a free plan that allows you to stream to LinkedIn Live, which is cool. But one disadvantage, at least at the moment, is that LinkedIn don't have the facility for tools such as StreamYard to bring in the comments. So it's the one missing piece in all of this, unfortunately. But I assume as soon as they release that, you'll be on that and be able to add that in, which will be really, really cool. I just wanted to bring in, we've got some other comments which I will get back to, so don't worry, people who are watching. But let's just see. I've got the wrong screen here, so that's typical. It doesn't work if I do this. So if I do the other display, there we go. So I just wanted to show the StreamYard website. So if you just go to streamyard.com, you can find out all the information about it. There is a free plan as well, which is cool. And the multicasting, though, and I'm quite glad you've not put it on the free plan, because I think that would be far too much. But on the free plan, you can have up to 6 participants, so you can have you and up to 5 guests, which is really cool. It's also one of the only tools out there that has screen sharing on the free plan, which is cool. You can add banners and on comments on the screen, which is cool. And with the paid version, you can also multicast as well, and you don't have the StreamYard branding on there. So that's StreamYard for you. So what are your frustrations and with StreamYard at the moment, or what are the missing features? What's next? And you might have to, I don't know, this might be top secret information, but have you got any thoughts on what's next and what are your frustrations currently?
Yeah, absolutely. So just general frustrations. I mean, I guess it's probably the same frustrations that companies like Buffer and Hootsuite probably share. Is it's hard to integrate with a bunch of things that you don't control. It's going to be difficult. So integrating with all these different social platforms where things can sort of change at any time, and you sort of have to make sure you don't break any of the rules. That can be stressful. So that's probably, I don't know I think that might not be exactly your question, but that's one frustration that we have. But as far as frustration with the product itself, I'm overall very, very happy with StreamYard as it is. Our number one goal is for it to be really, really easy, and I think we do that successfully. I'd like to add more platforms. So I'd like to serve people there's lots of people that would like to go live on Twitch. It's not our current audience. Most of our current audience doesn't know what Twitch is or care about Twitch, which is totally fine. I probably am not going to do live streams to Twitch, but it is an important platform for people that are sort of in the creative space. So people that are doing drawings or paintings or all kinds of other creative types of things. Twitch is a good platform for that, so we would like to serve them. So you'll see more platform integrations. I'd like to go deeper on, I think in the future we're going to start viewing StreamYard as more of a community building tool or a community engagement tool rather than just a live streaming tool. So I'm not going to get too far into the details, but you can use your imagination on that, I suppose, of really how could you make this broadcast as engaging as possible, as entertaining as possible through the tool itself. So we want to make it really, we just want to make it extremely easy for people to do a good job and make a good entertaining live stream. And we're going to continue focusing on that.
Love that. That's really cool. I've got an apology to make, Geige, and that is that I've when I was on your screen, I actually put Making's name on there, who was a guest last week or yesterday. Cool. So apologies for that. And actually Making's in the room. So thank you, Dave. Dave was actually saying, why is Making's name on when Geige is the only one on the screen? So yeah, this is the joy of live streaming. Things go wrong. What can I say? So yeah, Making asked me this earlier, and I gave the best reply I could. But her question is, can I stream simultaneously, so that's the multicasting, using StreamYard from my phone? I tend to do a lot of live streams from my phone rather than my computer. And I said to her, yes, it's possible, but it was an experimental feature, but maybe you can tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, that's a good frustration that slipped my mind, is there are a lot of people that are mobile only these days, which always surprises me, probably because I'm a geek that always has like a fancy computer that I use. But lots of people just do everything from their phone. So that is something we'd like to do in the future as well, is make it easy to actually host a broadcast from a mobile device. You can join on mobile devices, so you can have guests on iPhones and iPads and Androids and all kinds of tablets. But right now, hosting, you have to do it from a desktop or laptop, unless you sort of do a workaround that I won't get super into, but basically you can set it to desktop mode and trick us into thinking you're on a desktop or a laptop, and that would allow you to go live. But we want to make it nice. We want to make a nice experience for it. It's not really a technical limitation. We just need to design it so that that it has good functionality despite being on a tiny screen. But yes, that's also something that we'd like to add to StreamYard.
Okay, so it is, hopefully it will come. It probably is technically possible at the moment, but yeah, maybe you just need to wait a little bit making, but so that will come, which is cool. Now let's see if there's any other questions. So, oh yeah, Dave says I am a huge fan of both of you fine gentlemen. That's very cool. Thank you for coming on the show, Dave. So, yeah, the other thing that I feel might be, this is probably a more difficult thing for you to achieve because you are. StreamYard is a web app, is the whole ability to save the video in a high quality format for later. So particularly for repurposing, one issue has been if you're broadcasting to the likes of Facebook, getting the download or getting the video from Facebook, it's not always been that good quality. Now that you offer multicasting, maybe the quality from the likes of YouTube will be better, and that's something I want to test. But have you thought about the whole idea of giving people the ability to save the video for later?
Yes, and that's actually, I won't give a date for you, but I think people that want that feature will be happy soon. It's something we're currently working on.
Okay. I won't ask you any more about that, but it's good that you're thinking about it.
It is a good point, though, and it's something that we'd like to improve. It's an interesting problem to solve because if you're not recording locally, it's hard to. I'm trying to think of a simple way to explain this. But if you're recording directly on your computer, the information doesn't have to go anywhere else, so there's no chance of stuff being missed and the quality suffering. And when you're recording on your own computer, since you don't have to deal with that, you can get a high quality recording. So it's sort of figuring out how to maximize the quality, despite the fact that it has to get from your computer to our computer. But there are ways to deal with it, and it's something that we're going to continue to improve.
Yeah, that makes sense. And obviously, you don't want to have to rely on people having mega expensive fast computers.
Right.
But I mean, Zoom seems to kind of manage it. It has the ability to allow you to save on your computer or to store on their servers. But obviously, with the likes of live video, it's a slightly different thing. But that's cool. Fab. Well, so we've talked about all what the next features are on StreamYard, and what is the best way for people to get involved. We've talked about obviously you offer a free plan, so people can play around with that before they look at upgrading and getting all the multicasting stuff. Is there anywhere else you'd like to send people? Have you got a community that people can get involved in and find out more about StreamYard?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if you're just looking to check out StreamYard, the best place to go is just StreamYard. So StreamYard.com, and you can sign up for a free account. And there's a completely free version that has lots of functionality, so you can get a sense of how all of it works. If you'd like to be more involved with us directly, we have a community group on Facebook that's a very good group, very active, and you can talk to me directly in there. I respond to pretty much everything there. So if you have any feedback or questions, that's a good place. If you just type in StreamYard community on the Facebook search, it should pop up. And then we also have email. So any questions, contact@streamyard.com.
That's cool. You still use email.
I still use email.
So not smoke signals, but we're not going about that far. But anyway, I'll stop there. It's been great to have you on the show. Thank you so much, Geige, for spending this time and getting up so early in the morning. And it's been great. And thank you for answering all those questions. So yeah, if you want to find out more about StreamYard, just go to streamyard.com. And also, I've written a lot about StreamYard on the blog. So if you go back to episode 4 or 5, I can't remember the exact number. There's a whole episode on the top live video tools. So you can find out all about that and how it compares to some of the other tools out there. But just before we finish, just to say, I've got a giveaway at the moment. It's not launched quite yet, but in the next couple of days, if you're listening to the podcast, hopefully it will have launched by then. So if you just go to iag.me/giveaway, I'm going to be giving away so many amazing prizes out there. And basically, the whole idea of this is just to promote the podcast and live show. So do go to that and do share it with your friends. But until next time, I encourage you to level up your impact, authority, and profits using Confident Live Video. See you soon, everyone. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Confident Live Marketing Podcast with Ian Anderson Gray. Be sure to join the community at iag.me, where you can continue to level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of live video. And until next time, toodaloo.